Hello and welcome back to another edition of the MCR. Today we're going to try something a little different. We've never done this before in our 3 years, I should say. And we have a call-in guest, or perhaps more accurately, a call-in co-host. We have TJ on the line. And for those of you who may not know, TJ is one of the 5 hosts of this show. He does the bulk of our videos. So what we're going to talk about today is Hillary Clinton. Here she is again. I've often said that Hillary Clinton is the gangster Michael Corleone can only dream of being, or for that matter, Al Capone. She has learned her gangster ways from Saul Alinsky, who wrote Rules for Radicals. That's gone into in depth in a Dinesh D'Souza movie, Hillary's America. So I'm going to throw this out to TJ. TJ, have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't watched it yet. Shame on me, I'll confess.
Yeah, it goes into, like I said, it goes into some detail as far as how Hillary went from a conservative, right-wing Barry Goldwater conservative to becoming a radical leftist criminal. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I guess one of the things is I don't necessarily need to be convinced that she's a piece of excrement, but and I'm not sure anyone who is a diehard supporter of her would give the movie the time of day. At best, you could only hope to sway the fence sitter,
Yeah, exactly. In fact, my youngest daughter, who you know, said exactly that. The right people never watch that movie. The people who need to see it. But it's not so much to convince you. It does go into detail as to the scams he ran and the scams she learned from him and how she just followed in his footsteps. And the latest thing is the John Durham filing, which accuses her and others of spying on candidate Trump and then President Trump. I got to tell you, I think, and you can tell me what you think here in a moment, I got to think this makes Watergate look like a tea party. When I say tea party, I mean a little girl's tea party.
But in some regard, to me, it's nothing new. They've been criminals since their Arkansas days, and it's just I've never seen a married couple, perhaps in name only, but I've never seen a couple work so hard to cover up all their criminal activity. I mean, it's almost never ceasing.
Well, she did make the comment that if she goes down, she's going to take half of Washington, D.C. down with her. And you know what? While I don't believe much out of her mouth, I do believe that.
Yeah, and I guess at this point, there could be some Hillary fatigue in that while there's nothing new and yeah, it's horrible, is anyone really going to give a rodent's derriere, Well,
I mean,
that is my concern at all of this today.
I've seen a few stories that say that the left has gotten what you say, Hillary fatigue, and right now they need to throw somebody into the volcano, and it might be her.
And you could use this Hillary scenario as the latest example of the pure pragmatists that they are. They have so demonized us. They have brainwashed themselves into how evil we are that she can do no wrong. And whatever she does, well, it had to have been needed given how horrible we on the right are. I mean, I really do believe that's how they think, and this is why I keep saying all along, you can't reach across the aisle with these people. You can't compromise with these people.
Well, you can reach across the aisle.
It's one excuse after another with these people,
Right, yeah, you're right. There's no compromise. Abortion, there's no compromise. The Electoral College, there's no compromise. The Second Amendment, which, by the way, she says she doesn't know is a right or not. It states the right of the people.
I was just going to say, I know there's truth and teeth to this Durham thing. I just don't think anyone. Making an election issue and just solidify the base and And you know what? At this point, I'm almost thinking the only justice could be a Trump victory in 2024, because I don't know. You know, they're saying that those who colluded for or with or under Hillary, I don't think they're going to roll. I think they're just going to fall on their sword for that horrible woman.
Well, do they dare? I mean, they may commit suicide with 2 bullets in the back of the head. We know the Clintons' long record, and I used to poo-poo this, thinking, these people get tinfoil hats on, but there comes a point when you go, you just don't know this many people who commit suicide or have strange actions.
Well, and you're going back to the Foster incident,
yeah.
Which I think I've always suspected, and we're getting off track here, but I've always suspected Foster committed suicide in a very, very embarrassing location. I believe he tried to embarrass the Clintons with his suicide, and they had to move the body to a alternate location.
I'd like to know
damage control.
I've always wondered how you could walk into a muddy park and have no mud on your shoes.
Well, I just don't believe he committed suicide in that park.
I don't think that.
I'm not going to say he was murdered. I would think he committed suicide in a location that would have been hard for them to explain. So instead of having to explain it, just move them.
Yeah, we're on the same page with that. So let me ask you this: what do you think about the? Let's say it goes to a grand jury and they indict her. Where would the trial be held? Would that be in D.C., where she wouldn't have a snowball's chance in hell of getting convicted?
I'm not convinced she'd be indicted.
Well, she should be, in my opinion. She should be charged with treason and tried for that, and along with perhaps Joe Biden, who I believe knew about this, and Barack Obama, who I believe knew about this. Not to mention the then, and her name escapes me, I can picture her in my mind, the Attorney General at that point, the one who met on the tarmac with her. Maybe that's what that discussion was about.
I guess, given the quagmire of the D.C. swamp, I'm just not convinced this is, for as right as it is and as truthful as it is, and at the risk of sounding defeated, I'm not convinced it's at the end of the day going to mean anything or go anywhere.
Well, the one thing I do hope, if nothing else comes out of it, I hope she does get indicted so that we can say once indicted, always indicted, per Speaker Pelosi.
Yeah, you got a point there.
That would be, we could always refer to her as the indicted Hillary Clinton. Because you know what, if impeached sticks to Trump, indicted will stick to her. Because that's all.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, I think that's part of the reason why they impeached Donald Trump, just so they could say not only was he impeached once, but he was impeached twice, as if nothing else, a smear on him. So yeah, in that regard, I would be in agreement.
Yeah, I see a lot of people calling for the impeachment of Joe Biden, and I say let that dog lie, because unless you have 67 votes in the Senate, it's an exercise in futility. Or it becomes what you said, a tit-for-tat smear.
I just, at this point, the only real justice I see is a Trump victory in 2024. I mean, let Durham do his thing, let him dig up all the dirt, let it stick to the degree that it'll stick. Let Trump and all his, all his supporters, as we say, the politicians that would be positively affected with his coattails, let it be an election issue with all of them, and at this point, that's about the most justice I can envision at this point.
Yeah, as much as I'd like to see it, I don't imagine she'll have handcuffs on or, even get arrested. But with that said, it's been a good conversation, I think. We'd like to ask everyone to like, share, and subscribe. YouTube is crushing us with their algorithm. This is what we believe. Our views have dropped down from in the several hundreds to barely getting 100, and people are telling us that they're being unsubscribed. We've heard this from other YouTubers much bigger than us. I guess we should take that as a compliment, huh, TJ?
Yeah. I'm very convinced their algorithms working against us. It's one of those things. Do you have proof? No, I don't have proof. But the saying, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Well,
It's just
there's certain
very suspicious to me.
there are reasons to believe it. I would say that at least. So with that,
Certainly.
we're going to call this show a wrap. So be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.